Show. Always Irish Show. Always Irish Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks. It's Saturday Night Live, and you never know what you're going to get on this show on a Saturday night. It's my favorite show we do. In fact, I could argue it's as fun as the post-game shows, but in a different way, because the post-game shows are so dramatic. They're a call-in show on steroids because it's right after the game, and whether we're happy or we're sad or whatever, there's a lot going on and a lot more people, and everything's kind of chaos, and we're all, kind of soaking in what happened with the game, and it's all kind of a blur. These, you never know what you're going to get on a Saturday night. You guys are wild, and I love it. Like, it's a perfect fit for me because you never know what you're going to get. So welcome in, welcome back, folks. Thanks everybody for being here. It's a Saturday night. You could do a million different things, and you're choosing to be with me. It means the world to me. Here's the deal. I got a bunch of calls, so I'm still struggling with this, guys, being my own producer and all that. I just feel guilty when I talk forever, or I give one person way too much time and another person doesn't get their time. We're going to try and tighten it up if we can when we have a big phone load. So get to your points, and we'll see what we can do. I want to give everybody their time. You all deserve it, okay? I'm glad people liked it. Dude, the dumbest things I do sometimes hit the hardest. It is the stupidest thing in the world. But for some reason, I've gotten a bunch of messages and emails. People liked me singing the Frozen song yesterday to end the morning show. So you never know what you're going to get. And I am good at rhyming. Kleenex and orange are the only things I have trouble rhyming. Anything else I could pretty much rhyme. I should have been on Death Row Records as a producer. I can write a rhyme for anything. It's just Kleenex and orange. I can't get it to work. All right, here's the deal. Hey, John from hot and sweaty Houston. Texas is on my mind, and that Texas heat is on my mind, as are the weirdo cheerleaders that are male, and they're in white overalls, and they're weird. And that's on my mind too, okay? It's man, it's it's the stupidest thing. It popped in my head, that dumb Frozen song, and everybody laughed. All right. Super chats first. A couple funny comments that I want to opine on, and then we're going to give it to the callers. We'll see where you guys want to go. Let's get through the introduction. We'll do that. Hand it over to the callers, and we'll go from there. As always, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. You know that. You're there right now. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. I don't know. Some of you people are here every day and don't hit subscribe. I don't understand it. Is it a personal vendetta just that I can't get that one more? Whatever. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on that way. You're alerted every time something rattles into John's brain and we got to put out a video. Twitter. Search bar Always Irish Rat, Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, nobody's going to blame you for that one. How do you think I feel looking at myself at 80 hours a week in a camera? USA Today Fighting Irish Wire, you can read all about it. It is true. John knows how to read and write. Notre Dame lacrosse going to the Final Four. I don't know nothing about lacrosse. I just know that our guys are doing good. Good for them, but I'm not going to act like I know anything about it. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. It's the former captain. It's the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. I'm going to tell you what we did Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, we took a deep dive into Texas A&M, everything that could happen, good and bad, what we need to do at the offense, looking at our quarterback situation, short-term and long-term. We covered a lot of ground, and that's what the Patreon's for, digging extra deep, going 5 layers deeper than we could do here, have the time for here. And thanks to everybody that's over there. All right, let's do a couple of these chats and we're going to get it cracking on the phone lines. We're going to see what you guys have in store tonight. It's a measure of who's been drinking, what they've been drinking, and how many of them they've been drinking. That's what you get on a Saturday night. You got to keep your head on a swivel because you never know what's coming. $20 holler from the Homer TD. Happy anniversary, Mark with glasses. Oh, we'll get there. I enjoyed our conversation at the tailgate. Good evening, John. Go Irish. It's good to have you here, man. Tony, you're a part of the family now, whether you like it or not. You're stuck with us, brother. $5 holler from Andrew. 224. I wanted to call in Friday, discuss Dabo and how it relates to Notre Dame. Yeah, listen. I don't know whether this is coaching malpractice. What Dabo's doing, he hates the NIL, hates the portal, happy to tell Tyler and Spartanburg all about it, right? I don't know whether it's coaching malpractice in the modern era to not adapt, or if some people are going to go, you know what? I respect that guy. He has a vision of what he wants to do. He's got a couple championship skins on the wall. He wants to do it his way. He has a vision of what he wants to do. He's sticking to it, and he's not coming off of it. A part of me wants to respect his consistency, but I question if it's helping his team or not. But philosophically, I like people that are consistent. But the times are moving, and you're casting a smaller net on yourself on purpose for talent. I don't know. We'll get into it. Maybe Andrew will see it some different ways than I do. Donnie with the $50 holler. Man, I appreciate it. Paid for the phone lines tonight, Donnie. Thank you. I can't get on tonight, family stuff. Have a great show. You know what, man? That means the world to me. You can't even sit here and enjoy the fruits of your $50 labor, and you still popped in to donate. That means a lot to me. Really appreciate it. $5 holler. Johnny, we're all like the dads on South Park. We're all like something. This group it's scary, and I love it. It is scary, though, but I love it. I love all of you, most of you. All right, here's a comment I got to get to before I have to. So, Mark with glasses. And you all know Mark was at the tailgate. If you were there, you probably met him. Mark was the architect of this fine handcrafted jewelry that would sell for, I think, 2.5, 3 million, somewhere in there if it went to auction. This high-class piece, okay? He says, me and the old lady will be here celebrating our 24th anniversary tonight with the Always Irish show. That's right. Mark, I got to tell you, it means the world to me. But in my mind, it's a little funny. I'm trying to picture it. And it's like 24 years together, all that we've been through. And it's our anniversary night and we're together. And what are we going to do? Do you want to go out? You want to go to the local Sabaris? Do you want to go? Will you want to go for a steak dinner? No, I know what we're going to do. We're going to sit on the couch and watch this lunatic turn purple, yelling about half of things that don't even matter. And it's going to be the perfect way to celebrate 24 years together is with Johnny boy here. It's tell you what, if that doesn't put you in the mood for nude, I don't know what will. You're like, I love you, Mark. You're one of my favorite people in the world. Sometimes I feel like we share a brain and that's not good for either of us. But God bless you if you're spending your anniversary watching me. It's I'm trying to picture it and it's really funny. So God bless you. And God bless her for putting up with you and then being looped into this. What a saint that woman is. She's called before. I talked to her on the phone at the Blue and Gold game. Oh, I love you guys. Oh, that's so fantastic. Oh, man. It's just a riot. Oh, boy. Oh, I ain't romantic. Oh, yeah, you are. Come on. Hey, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna cook some. We're gonna cook some chicken tenders. Sit on the couch and watch John. Happy anniversary, honey. Oh man, Tony. Happy Saturday night. Welcome to the show, brother.
Good evening, John. I hope all is well out there in Illinois.
Yeah, it's going good. We're finally getting some decent weather, man. It's plenty warm and sunny. It's actually pretty pleasant out, so I can't complain. How are you, man? How are you doing? We're in summer now, man. We got a long grind till Notre Dame football comes back. How are you hanging in there? Getting some golf in?
Yeah, we're getting some golf in and doing a lot of yard work, dealing with a bum ankle. So, but other than that, life is good. Life is good. Spent 5 days up in the Finger Lakes of New York and wine country last week with Marie and her sister and brother-in-law, and we had a great time.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear it. What's on your mind in Notre Dame land? I mean, there's a lot going on, but it's like nothing that we're going to have answers to, you know? And so a lot of people are thinking about A&M and how that game could go. A lot of reactions to the line. I haven't seen anybody that has Notre Dame winning. Every line has them kind of favored, at least by a couple. And I'm not sure whether that's totally fair or if we think we're getting sold short. There's some talk about that. Wherever you want to go, we could go.
I don't get into lines. I'm not a gambler, and it doesn't really matter to me. What matters is what happens when they kick the ball off. And a couple things I had that I'd like to mention. Patreon, that interview that you and Mike did with Kyle McCarthy, that's worth the price of admission right there. I mean, if people aren't participating in Patreon, I strongly recommend that they do that. That was great stuff.
I really appreciate that. He's a really unique guy. His journey through Notre Dame, college football, his professional career cut short due to a bunch of severe injuries, and then parlaying that into one of the most successful agencies there is. It's a really cool Notre Dame success story, and he knows what he's looking for in talent and guys to work with. It's really interesting. The Notre Dame, where everybody ends up after Notre Dame is wild. Just all over the board, just successful, good people that treat people the right way. It's a beautiful thing, man. Love the community.
Yeah, it sounds like he is resourceful and good for him. My role here is not to criticize, and I'm not trying to do that, but facts are facts. And last week, and then again yesterday, and I don't know if it was the same caller, John, but yesterday you called him Colorado Man. And last week there was a gentleman on, and they were, both of them, been the same person. Both of them said they're not sold on Coach Denbrock. And last week the guy said, well, he has no national championship. And we should have gone after an OC with national championship. And if we couldn't get one of them, go to the NFL. Well, not too many NFL coaches have national championships that I'm aware of. And then the one that really shocked me was he said, or maybe a Division I AA coach, one of those great coaches. And my thought when he said that was, the Notre Dame fan base would have gone berserk if we'd have hired a Division I AA offensive coordinator. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And then yesterday, the Colorado man was not sold on Denbrock, and And he brought up the Kelsey boys. He said, you know, he had the Kelsey boys at Cincinnati. Well, when the Kelsey boys were at Cincinnati, where was Mike Denbrock? He was at Notre Dame. He wasn't coaching. He didn't coach the Kelsey boys in Cincinnati. They were there from 2006 to 2012 between the two of them, and he was at Notre Dame for most of that time. So I'm not
Tony,
don't criticize, but
Tony,
facts are
I
facts,
struggle with it. I struggle with it because of all the things I worry about and am worried about in Notre Dame land. Mike Denbrock's low on the list. He is on the top of my list of improvements the program's made from last summer into this summer. And here's my contention. I think Colorado man was saying, I don't think he's a top 3 OC in the country or whatever. To me, that's not even really the debate. The debate would be, how much better is it than what we had last year? That needs to be the first comparison before I worry about what's going on in the whole country. I want to know, can he make us a more consistent offense week in, week out, even against the good teams? And that's what I want to know. Can he get more out of our guys than what we had last year with the game planning and the pivoting in the moment when a defense is on to what we're trying to do? Whatever it is, not panicking in a big moment, not getting overwhelmed because he has the experience. And also, Tony, here's the other thing. I'm not going to say, oh, look what he did at LSU. He could come over here and right away do that. It's not the same situation. And I'm not asking him to do exactly what he did at LSU. Our offense isn't going to run like LSU's. But I just think his experience is he's going to position Notre Dame for success and put professional game plans together that can function in tough environments. And that's the support Freeman needs on the side of the ball he has less experience with. That's my position. I think it's reasonable.
It's very reasonable, and I can't imagine that a Mike Denbrock offense isn't going to be better than the last two offenses we've seen for the previous 2 years. I'd be shocked if it's not. And
yeah,
I don't want to criticize, but facts are facts, and you know the facts that were being presented weren't correct, and it is what it is. And I'm all in for this team's improvement this year. I'm not going to say we're going to be 12-0 or 11-1 or 10-2. I'm just saying we're going to be a lot better as a whole, and that's what we're headed for.
Yep. I tend to agree. I mean, I could definitely see shortcomings or like some traps. I could see where Notre Dame could hit a rough patch or whatever. Overall, I just think the team is positioned to be more stable this year, week in and week out, be able to rely more on, we think we know what we're going to get, and hopefully not have a big priority to me is not having these huge swings where you could score 60 something against Navy and then you can't score against the good teams. Like that's something I want to see balance out. And I think Denbrock's going to be a key feature of that. That being said, the first 3 weeks of August are going to be chaotic for Notre Dame's offense. They have a lot of catching up to do, assuming Riley Leonard's fully healthy and ready to go. They got a lot of catching up to do in a few weeks. They got to finalize that offensive line, where they want guys, what they're going to do, and then get ready for A&M. So Denbrock's got to install a really good plan, and as soon as day one of camp opens, hit the ground hard. They got a lot of catching up to do.
Well, with the coaching staff they have on that side of the ball, they've got excellent coaches, McCullough and Rudolph and Denbrock. I mean, that's a pretty solid staff, and I'd be surprised if they don't put that all together in a hurry. And I'm sure they're working on all kinds of things throughout this period of time and also through the summer. So
yeah,
but look forward to the season.
But again, Tony, I don't understand all the things there is to worry about. I would never pick up the phone and call me and worry about Denbrock putting together an offense. Like I have way other I have so many other concerns with Notre Dame. Like his play calling's not on the list. People are going to like it. They're going to use more of the field. They're going to make defenses play Notre Dame honest. They're going to move around. It's going to be a more active offense, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I agree with all of that, and I also think the pivoting that we're going to see compared to what we've seen in the past, we just never seem to, run that ball up the middle, no matter how many people are stacking the box.
Yep.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen this year.
Yep. That's going bye-bye.
And if it does, I'll be as disappointed as anybody.
Nope. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Denbrock's too smart for that, and he'll know what he wants to do, and we'll pivot in and out of what we need to. Dr. John, good to see you here, man, on a Saturday night. I hope you and your 4 girlfriends are having fun in the hot tub. Good to have you here, Dr. John. So Tony, I don't know, man. It's
Dr. John's feeding horses. I don't know if some of those horses are in the hot tub with them, but I wouldn't be calling them horses.
I must have missed that. I must have missed that chat. Oh man,
he's feeding horses, sitting the ranch. The dogs are fed, the horses are fed, and the plants are watered.
Oh,
hell of a night, Dr. John. Your night sounds as exciting as Mark with glasses.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So I don't know, Tony. It's going to be a stressful next few months. Like, I am going to be stressed out. There's no way around it. Texas A&M is Notre Dame's big next chance to move the needle. We're just going to stress out for 3 more months. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I'm not going to stress out, but I know you are, because that's what you do. But
yeah, that's what I do.
I've shared with you in the past. John, just relax a little bit. Take a deep breath.
I try.
I know that's not you.
I know. Okay. I try. Why do you think I'm so skinny, man? When I stress, the calories just melt away, man. It's just, it keeps me going. It keeps me going. If I'm not stressed, something's wrong. If I'm not stressed about something, sound the alarm. Okay?
Okay. We'll do that.
Oh.
All right, Johnny, that's all I have. Have a great show, and thanks for everything you do.
Oh, I appreciate you. Hey, thanks for everything you do, man. You're a part of the family now, and it doesn't matter whether he likes it or not. He's in the inner circle. James Thompson, good to see you here. Years ago, Tom Frawley, good to see you, man. I hope you're feeling good, man. Get healthy just for the summer. Enjoy the weather. James Thompson, been here for a few years. And I said something yelling about, like, I stroked out, or like, I'm going to be doing the show from a casket. I think that's what I said. I think it was when Kelly was still here, and I was yelling about something. I said, maybe it was the Marshall game. I don't know what it was, but I was yelling, and I said, if this keeps up next week, I'm going to be doing the show from a casket. Every single time James is in the chat, all he writes is casket, casket, casket. Every time. He'll respond to my videos in the comments and just put casket. And I know exactly what he's referencing. I hope that's what he's referencing. Otherwise, I got real questions, and I think I have real problems. $20 holler from DePilney, 35. Top All-America QB talent. Used to be all mark of the program in its dominant years. The QB room improving as a sign Notre Dame is returning to power. Most of the 7 Heisman winners at ND were QBs. Here's the deal. The deal is, it's night and day. The process to build relationships with the quarterbacks now is night and day different. The timeline to work on building these relationships has sped up, giving Notre Dame much more flexibility. And the guys that are interested in the program now and joining are of a higher cut. It's awesome. There's going to be some tedious, stressful moments for us all when you have a bunch of quarterbacks that we think could all contribute, and they're all not going to be able to. There's going to come a moment where some of these guys are going to have to make a decision to leave or whatever. And I'm fine with that. Nick Dean, good to have you heard and seen. I'm fine with that as long as Notre Dame hitches their wagon to the right guy and another guy leaves. You just can't hitch your wagon to the wrong guy and the right guy's mad and leaves. Then you're 0 for 2. Now you're in a situation. You can't have that happen. John doesn't have an answer to what question? I'm not acknowledging your dumb stuff all the time, man. Like, it's just too much. Like, I play with it a little bit, but sometimes it's just too far. It's just too far sometimes. Oh, Pistol Pete's up next. I got an 815-224. I got, oh boy, Tim. Mount Tim's about to explode. And a couple fellow 815ers. We got to get them in. Johnny needs to look down on the bayou. Oh, I don't know about that, man. It's rough times down there. Number one receiver in the whole country decommitting, looking to maybe go to Texas. That's really awkward. Commander, I don't know how many times to tell you, you're not in charge of this show. You're not the teacher where you say something and I have to stop what I'm doing and address you, especially when your question is ridiculous and absurd. I don't feel an obligation to address your absurdities. Pistol Pete, what's going on, brother?
John, how are you?
Pete, I'm doing well, my friend. You and I communicate quite often, and you know where I'm at on all this stuff. My mind's fully focused on Texas A&M and what a big moment this is, and it's a few months away, and I'm wound tight over it, Pistol Pete. I'm wound tight, brother.
15 weeks, 105 days, John.
Oh man, that's a long time. 105. Mel Gibson, respecter. Good to see you. Mel Gibson, respecter. So Pete, what's on your mind in Notre Dame land?
Okay. Now, I saw the schedule, this past week. We can watch Notre Dame on Saturday and cheer them on the victory, and then the next day you can watch USC against LSU, and you can root against Kelly that day.
Yeah, it's Pete. Here's the thing, though. That's only going to apply if Notre Dame wins. If Notre Dame loses their first game, I am not going to be in the mood to watch any more football until I have to. I'm going to be out of my mind, miserable. I'm not going to be in the mood to even watch that game and root against Brian Kelly and for USC. And I'm telling everybody right now, I have no hesitations telling this whole group, I am 100% rooting for USC to beat LSU week 1 for multiple reasons.
Me too.
It makes sense, Pete. Yeah. Number one, you will piss off all the LSU people, and that warms my heart till no end the way they are. And then number two, it'll prop USC a little bit. And then when we beat them on Thanksgiving weekend, look better. And the reality is USC is going to lose multiple games anyways. They may as well get this win because I anticipate them losing at least a few anyways. But the only way I'm going to be able to enjoy that, Pete, is if Notre Dame gets the win. I need that victory, and Marcus does too.
I saw a little short of your episodes. Where you were talking about your daughter with Frozen and the song "Let It Go." Well, if you were talking about the cold weather and bundle up, if you had to be dressed up as an Eskimo for that game in December to be there, I think you would do it.
Pete, the colder the better, man. I am totally here for it. I want it cold. I want a home game against a group of 5 team. Break into this new playoff with a home win, and no matter who it's against, it's going to be history. It is going to be permanent Notre Dame history to win your first home playoff game. That's what I need. And Pete, here's the issue, man. To get that home game, you got to go 11-1. Don't you agree? You're not even sniffing that at 10-2, and you may be on the edge of making the playoff at 10-2, depending on what else happens around the country. I need Notre Dame to hit that 11-1 as a minimum, get us that home seed. And the issue with the 11-1 path is it's hard to go 11-1 if you start out 0-1. That ain't very fun. I can't handle it, Pete.
You are correct.
You got to get that win.
Thinking on a positive, John, how great would it be? We make the playoff. We host LSU in that first round, and boy, an extra treat here. You get to speak at the Notre Dame pep rally that day, the day before.
Oh, Pete, there's going to be a moment. I think there's going to be a moment where Notre Dame and LSU are going to match up. And if it is in a playoff situation, the buildup and the media stuff is going to be, and the fan stuff is going to be, it's going to be intense, and it's going to be real, and it's going to be real personal to a lot of people. I can't wait just for the drama. It's going to eventually, man, we're going to cross paths somewhere down the line, and it is going to be an outrageous must-see build-up and event, Pete.
Just think of the ratings for your show that week, and if you could use your USA Today press pass to go ask a question.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Swamp Thing.
Oh, boy. Man, he does not like me, and I love it.
And then you're the one speaking at the prep rally, because you would definitely get the crowd fired up.
Oh, man. I told you, Pete. I've told a lot of people this. My dream job, I mean, I'm kind of doing it now. I've always wanted to do sports talk radio since I was a little tiny kid. 670 The Score, Boers and Bernstein in Chicago. You know who they are, Pete. You're from the area.
Mm-hmm.
That was my
sir.
show growing up, Boers and Bernstein, and it was goofy and inappropriate, and it was the Wild West of radio when you could say whatever, funny sound drops, weird noises, everything they did. All I wanted to do is do sports radio my whole life. If I had another dream job, it would be Notre Dame hype man. I don't need to be a coach. I'm not qualified to be a coach. Notre Dame hype man. You just pay me to get everybody pumped up and in the right mental space to go run over somebody. I am confident I could do that. Like, I know what buttons to press, and that would be fun for me, Pete.
Well, I said to you before, a great job for you would be the PA address announcer at the Notre Dame home football games.
I couldn't do it. No, I would get in trouble. I couldn't do it, man. I would do something. I would be too emotional to be able to do that in the tone you need to do it to retain professionalism throughout. I'm admitting that. Like, I don't think I'd be able to control. But I could do all sorts of funny things. I mean, how would you like to hear "That's right" echoing through the whole stadium? Like, and here come the Fighting Irish. That's right. Like, it would be fun, but I don't think I could be professional enough to do it full time. No way.
Just imagine the end of a game where we beat Michigan. That's right.
Oh my good Lord.
Wolverine.
You know what, Pete? That's another one, man. We're not on the schedule again until 33 when we go to the Big House. That's another team it wouldn't shock me if we ran up against before they appear on the schedule again. That's on my radar as well.
Boy, who would you have more fun beating, Michigan or Kelly?
Kelly. It's just more personal, Pete. It's just more personal. It's just, even with the Michigan stuff and the way that I process that, it's personal between me and him. So yeah, that one. That's the one.
Is it your personal feelings with him worse than having MFBD?
It is, yes. Because it's a personal vendetta, not one against like a whole group. That one's more personal.
Okay. So that's more severe than having MFBD?
It is. Yes. Yeah. It's a personal vendetta, and that's on me. That's my problem. I know that. Like, it is. So I don't know, Pete, man. It's and the other thing is, you guys, I think we're going to get some good recruiting news soon. And Pete, you and I have talked a little bit about that. But I think you got good news coming for the 25 class and the 26 class coming up. I feel very good. I feel very good about multiple of these recruitments and where Notre Dame sits for them. And I've been told there's some guaranteed commitments coming, and I'm here for it. So I think you're going to get good news with that coming up very shortly. And I'm telling you, man, so far, so good this summer. So far, so good. Let's keep it rolling.
Absolutely. And you heard the news about Newt's grave being moved to the Notre Dame campus, I'm sure.
I did. I need to get there and do an episode showing my respects and the new location. As somebody who worked in the burial industry for a dozen years, I have a little anxiety with the disinterment, reinterment process just because I've managed many of those, and I've seen everything that can go wrong. But it seems like everything went well and safe and clean, and the family was on board. So maybe it'll help us having Rockne closer to our hearts and on campus.
Yes, and of course, I mean, for you in spirit, Frank is always on campus, right?
Yep, you got to have Frank. I think I told you the other day, whenever I walk by that little old fire station, I wave to the ghost of Frank. You know, he used to say, I don't have time to sit in traffic and drive home. I got Notre Dame tape to look at. And you just stayed in that little tiny room above the old fire station there. God bless Frank. I love him.
Yes, gotta love Frank. I mean, 4 national championships for when he was at Notre Dame. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
he's the man.
Frank's definitely, he's your guy,
Pete,
for sure.
Pete, here's what it is. It isn't just the titles and the Heismans. All those titles he won, he left and went to the war and recruited. They gave him an out and said, you don't have to go to the war if you don't want to. You could be exempt. And he said, no, I feel an obligation to go. But while he went, he did a bunch of recruiting. And when the guys came back, he said, if we're not all blown up, you're coming to play for us and we're not going to lose. And they didn't lose for like 3 or 4 years in a row. Like, Frank is my hero. Multiple championships, a bunch of Heismans, a world war. He recruited a bunch of guys to come play for us. And here's the kicker, Pete. 2 things with Frank. He demanded perfection in every single thing they do. And I love that. And number 2, worrying about Notre Dame succeeding literally put him in an early grave. And that means the world to me to know that Frank loved Notre Dame football so much. It literally worried his body until he died young. I love it. I love it. Frank is my Notre Dame spirit animal. I love that man.
Yeah, if he was coaching your lifetime, I mean, your hairline would not have been as declined as.
Are you kidding me? I'd look like a Grateful Dead roadie in 1977, Pete. I'd have long flowing hair. I would be relaxed. I would just be full of energy and positivity. I'd have a huge mane of hair. Are you kidding me?
Compared to what you say Kelly took away from you, right?
I'm telling you what. It's he aged me a lot, but that's the way it goes, Pete. When you love Notre Dame, you got to roll with whatever happens. Sometimes you love it and sometimes you don't.
Correct. Yeah. Well, like you said, you can't have a whole team full of Pete's and Johns out there and expect to win an.
No, you certainly cannot. If you got a team full of Pete's and Johns, I mean, you're going to the Cheez-Its Bowl if you're lucky. Let's put it that way. You don't want any Johns out there. That's for damn sure. Too small, Pete. Hand-eye coordination way above average, but too small. Tell you that.
Yeah, I'm too small, too slow, and not the right kind of guy. Forgive me for bringing that saying up, but speaking of which, it's probably been around a year that I've replaced Kelly's photo with you on the wall in the man cave too.
I do appreciate that. It did make me laugh when your Notre Dame memorabilia wall, you took down the Kelly picture, put one of me and you up, and I signed it. And I wrote, that's right on it, Pete. I love you, man. Thank you.
Yep. The only thing that would have been better is, I mean, in the video that you made of me, is if you could have been the one who took the picture or knocked down the picture and replaced it.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, man, we are all sick. Do you realize this Notre Dame addiction we all have and how important it is to all of our lives? It's amazing. I love this community, even when it drives me nuts and the football's bad and everybody's mad and I'm taking shots and it's hard to get through shows. I still love it. There's nothing else I'd rather do, man. I absolutely love it. Pete, when are you getting back to campus? What's your plan this summer? You going to get over there before the season?
I'm sure sometime. I'm not sure yet. I was just thinking of this on the schedule, and boy, you probably get a laugh out of this one. Florida State obviously comes in November. I'm sure that'd be a night game. It could be quite cold. How nice would it be for you if the tubas froze that they were bringing in?
Oh, I I love it. And I want I want their band, if we allow them to come all spread out in different sections or whatever. I'm not letting them play that stupid Florida State thing. They're not doing it at our place. I'm going to shove a snowball in their tuba hole. All right, Pete? You're not coming in here with that Florida State crap and doing all this. I'm going to break your tuba.
Yeah, you probably won't. You'll probably be home though for that game. You won't be at the game though because you'll be doing your post-game show.
I don't even want to hear it on the Peacock or whatever we're doing. I don't want to hear it and I don't want to see it.
The Louisville game is the one that's on Peacock this year, from what I saw.
Is it? Is it really? The Louisville game's on Peacock? Yeah. Are you sure? Why would it not be Miami, Ohio, or Northern?
That's what I saw on ND Nation anyway.
What? Wait a dude. Why would Louisville be that game when you have Northern and Miami, Ohio on the slate early in the year? Why are they not getting that? I don't get it. What? Roger Dodger! I'm gonna have a stroke. Roger Dodger, Roger, you are not in the position to comment on any band activity. Tell your people to learn a new song. Tell your people to learn a new song. Do, 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 do. If it wasn't for those girls you all bring along, the whole thing would be worth nothing. Learn new songs at USC. Sorry, Pete.
That's okay. Well, since you're talking that, which band is worse to you, USC or Florida State?
Both of them. Both of them. They both annoy me because they overdo it. They overdo it. I get that that's your main thing, but it can't be your only thing. Nobody's going to go watch. Nobody wants to go watch their favorite band play one song for 2 hours in a row on repeat. Get a new song. Diversify your set list.
Yes. Yes. And
Pete, you always know how to get me going. You always know how to get me going, Pete. My blood pressure's rising. My hairline receding.
It's good for ratings though, right, John?
Yeah, till the day I finally do stroke out on the air for real. The stream will go on for infinity because I won't be here to turn it off and it'll just go on and I'll just be laying in my chair. Skeletor Johnny at your service.
I think you were telling me before you figured you're going to die of a stroke or a heart attack on your show one of these days in your lifetime.
If that's how it's going to go, I may as well get some ratings on the way out. Maybe get a couple super chats for my cremation, and then they hide my body in my special spot at Notre Dame no one else is going to know about. But I got it figured out. I told you that. So I'll be on there. I'll be there permanently one way or another, Pete. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for calling on a Saturday night.
Well, to everybody, I mean, when John has his tailgates, especially if you've never been there, it is a definite high recommendation that you go to it because it is excellent and you will not regret going and may as well join this great Always Irish family.
Man, I appreciate that. Thanks a lot, Pete, man. You enjoy the rest of your weekend, okay? Stay away from White Sox baseball. They're bad for our health too, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Thanks, Pete. He's getting good at that, man. Pete's getting good at that. But I do mean it. 815-224-859. Another 815-419. I got you all coming up. Man, I got to say, I really appreciate all the tailgate stuff, man. And it's the exact vibe I wanted, which is open to everybody. I don't care if I know you or not, or we've connected before. I don't care. I want it to be a place for everybody to go hang out. And the number one thing that a lot of people told me when they pulled me aside or we were talking at the tailgate, they said, a lot of times we come here and we're just on our own. Jay Carr, I got you. You're coming up. Yeah, you'll come up next. A lot of people said, John, a lot of times when we come over here, we don't have a group to tailgate with. We park in the white lot for game, have a beer in the parking lot, walk around. We don't have any, we don't have roots here. We're not like a Notre Dame legacy family with a lot of money and a lot of power at Notre Dame. We have an established tailgate group, whatever. And they said, your group gives us a place to hang out. And that's what I love. It's open to everybody. I want everybody. I want everybody to feel welcome. Even the commander, he could come too. I will address the commander shortly. So he was saying, I'm not even going to read the full thing. What has Freeman done besides nothing or whatever, something like that. And it's something I've really been thinking about a lot. Andrew, I got you after this next one, and he said he's going to be quick. So you're coming up. Thanks for your flexibility, by the way. And one thing that I'm thinking of is I just wrote an article, and I don't know when they're going to make it live. I submit the article as a draft. The editor decides where to place it and post it, when to post it. And you're asking what he's truly brought to the table. And if you phrase it that way, I think it's a little more fair than the way you phrased it, like a D-bag the first time you wrote it. But you didn't get moved back, Wicked. I got multiple 815s, and the other 815 was before you. I see you on here. We got a bunch of 815s. But I did not jump you 815. The other one was literally there. 922 is the one that called a little before you. Here's the way I look at this. And I realize this is going to get crapped on by people like Commander. I've always been a big believer that for Notre Dame to have real success in the modern age in college football, all of the behind the scenes things and the stuff and the work that goes on that a lot of us don't see, that all has to be in a good spot for Notre Dame to end up in a spot on the field. And I realize that's going to get ripped on. People are going to dump on it, and they're going to say, who cares what's happening behind the scenes if you're not winning big games or whatever? My argument would be, if you're doing a good job in all those key areas off the field, eventually that's got to pay off on the field. That's my thought. Why wouldn't it? So what am I talking about? Notre Dame's NIL system is being revamped. There is more resources there than anybody realizes because Notre Dame doesn't want people to realize it. The people who need to know what Notre Dame has to offer need to know, they know. And it ain't me and you. They think it's uncouth to talk about that kind of thing. They have more resources than any of us realize. The people who need to know, the recruits and the players and whatever. They're building out more structure with that, more support with that, more staff with that. That operation's ramping up. Freeman and Bavacqua are fully aware of the modern era college football that needs to be a part of it, and they're pushing it and doing a really good job. The recruiting. You could tell me you don't like the 25 class or whatever. It's sitting at number one, and you're in good position for 4 or 5 more really highly thought of people. Where is 815? That's where I'm from, Mark. South Chicago suburbs. That's the 815, baby. And Andrew, ding, ding, ding. I suspect the next thing you're going to see is now that Notre Dame can get off of the 1-year rental quarterbacks, they're going to go find some D linemen and really be able to put more resources over there. Also, something else you need to realize. Adam, thanks for my invite, bro. We could have done the show live from your boat. Adam sent me a little video last night, him and the wife on the boat. And he said, in the song that was playing, it was Twista, Adrenaline Rush. Adam, now you're talking my language. We need to go live from the boat, baby. So the NIL thing's trending up, and you are going to be able to go get some other guys. Also, this is something else you don't hear enough about. Notre Dame giving guys good NIL deals to keep them from leaving. A depth guy or a guy that's frustrated he isn't going to play and you're trying to have him hold on for 1 more year for his shot. You don't hear about any of that. And Notre Dame's doing a good job of keeping those guys in-house, out of the portal, and healthy. Okay? So, and with the recruiting, whatever. You're going to tell me it's not good enough. It's going to end up being a really solid class. They're in good position for 4 or 5 more guys. We'll see what happens. Relationships. Freeman's doing a really good job. He's doing a really good job. Everybody wants to work with him. Everybody wants to work for him. The administrators listen to him when he goes to them and says, here's the position we're in. Here's what we need. What can we do? That matters at Notre Dame more than most people in this chat are ever going to realize or want to admit. That matters. Freeman is able to navigate all these different rooms and personalities and do it in an approachable way that makes the powers that be want to help him out. The last guy didn't have that. They were butting heads. And it was just kind of like a relationship where we're both checked out, but nobody's moved out. And we just do our own thing. Not healthy. Not healthy. Okay? So in all these areas, NIL up, recruiting up, relationships around campus and the community and nationally up, stuff up. They're able to go get the quarterback they want. You may say it isn't good enough or it isn't who you would pick or whatever it is. But the point is when they feel like they need to go to a portal for a signal caller, they get their guy they want. Okay? Now you got to line it up on the field. Commander, why do you even like Notre Dame? Like, why do you even like Notre Dame? Why do you even want to be here? I really just don't know. Am I your therapy? And I understand for some people, I'm your therapy and you let it all out. You're mad at your wife. You come in here and give me a hard time. Like you're mad at your kids. You come in here and give me a hard time. Let it all out. Just let it go, baby. I won't judge you. Actually, yes, I do, Commander. You're special. We need to go have a drink. You need to chill out. And that's me saying it. Jesus. 815. What's going on? Well, is this Jay Carr? What's going on?
John, how's it going?
What's going on, man? Thank you for the phone call. First time caller. What's the deal? What's the special occasion?
Yeah, gotta keep the tradition. First long time listener, first time caller.
Oh, I like that. I appreciate that. First time, long time.
Two things. One, I'm here with my friend Brian. He came in from out of town. I'm gonna give him like a quick 30 seconds. He just wants to ask you one quick question.
All righty.
Hey, John Kennedy, a.k.a. Always Irish. It's your boy, Brian Kelly. I wanted to hop on really quick and just express to you and your cult following that you guys didn't know how good you guys had it with me. I am the winningest head coach in the game, and this false belief that Marcus Freepass can be your savior is laughable. I took your program to a national championship and 2 playoff appearances. And let's not forget the best trophy in the Guglielmino, the Camping World Bowl. People forget I did defeat Super Bowl starting quarterback Brock Purdy 33-9 in that Camping World Bowl masterclass. Anyway, if you want to go on a jet ski ride in Swampland, holla at me. Get the links as well. Bring your boy Cotter. Ain't no way he is better than me in golf. Y'all know how much I'd be hitting the links, especially in December instead of recruiting. Anyways, peace out, Johnny. 3-star. Go Tigers.
Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
How and why? Those are my questions. How and why? That is amazing.
Well, Mark knew it was coming. I told Mark like 2 weeks ago, I asked him, and I'm like, you know how to write script and make AI? And he said no, and I sat down and I figured out how to do it.
Oh, my.
So if you ever need an AI voice guy, hit me up.
Dude, I seriously might, because that is the perfect, Andrew, you're right. That is the perfect Saturday night call. All the goofy stuff I do, I might need to, man. I'm going to need to think about a use for that. Hello?
All right. Well, my one question I wanted to ask you on Patreon in the A&M show you posted, I think it was today. Who makes the one play to win, like early in the game? Like when Kyron got the touchdown early against Clemson, when Watts got the pick against USC early, and that was like the play that was like, oh shit, they came to play. Who makes that play? What is the play?
Against A&M?
Play, a defensive player.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to pick one on each side of the ball. Okay.
All
right. Here's what I got. Jeremiah Love. I'm picking Jeremiah Love. He's going to bust something open against A&M with his speed, and it's going to be a big play. Jeremiah Love is the guy Denbrock's already identified as a special kind of guy that you need to game plan around and scheme up a bunch of different ways to get that guy the ball and just give him a chance to let his God-given gifts bust it. I'm telling you, That's the kind of guy that turns a 12-yard gain into a touchdown. Like one little sliver and he's gone. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff. And they are going to target him. And they are already scheming up ways. That's why he was running with the slot receivers and all that stuff, trying to get scheme ways to get him the ball. Okay. So you're going to have that. And then let me give you this one. I'm going to surprise some people maybe on defense. Christian Gray. I got a feeling Christian Gray, he's going to bust out and make a big play, a big pick. He's going to do something with his athleticism that makes everybody realize he's an SEC type talent playing for Notre Dame. I'm going with Christian Gray, and that's his play in that game is going to make him a Notre Dame where everybody's going to know his name. That's what I'm going with.
My thought, I'll give you my thought and then I'll hang up and I'll let you see what you think. My thought is defense. It's one of the three linebackers on a blitz and they force a fumble, some strip sack fumble, something along those lines. And they set them up at like the 10-yard line. Like maybe not a touchdown, but it sets them up where they can score right off of that. That's my feeling. He sits like they basically swarm the pocket, and he comes around or someone flushes the middle and just pops them, or kind of how what's his name, Bertrand did it against I think it was UNC 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's a
when
good
he was
pick.
Suspended the first.
That's a good pick. Somebody else put in the chat, maybe like Trey Ori, somebody on the D line cracking loose, getting a fumble, scoop and score, getting something behind the line of scrimmage. I'm ready for that too, man. And here's the other thing. Let me ask you a question. You asked me a question. Let me ask you a question. I have my anxieties about Texas A&M. I am not naive to the idea that they have a bunch of fast SEC Southern talent running around. I'm nervous about our offensive line being put together enough to look like we're in one piece in game one right out of the gates. I have anxiety about that. I genuinely do. I'm very confident, though, that Notre Dame's defense is going to be ready for this moment. They're in year 3 with Al Golden. They have a blend of veteran and young talent. I am fully expecting the defense to hold their own and come ready to play big-time winning football right out of the gate. I expect that from them.
Yeah, I mean, it comes to me. It comes down to the tackles, and I'll bring it up for the Commanders, Lamar Turner. Those dudes they're no joke. Go watch the Ole Miss tape when he kicked the dude in the nuts and got ejected. Go pass.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And you know what? I have a theory on this. Mike Denbrock's no dummy. 224-815-419. You guys are all coming up. Hang with me. I want to get to all of you. Mike Denbrock's not a dummy. I believe he's going to put together the plan he wants to run opening up against A&M. And I believe he also has another idea if it's a cluster and if the O-line's totally overwhelmed and we're getting burned off the edge and everybody, my least favorite offensive line thing in the world is everybody turning around when the quarterback's crumpled in a million pieces and everybody's pointing. I thought you had the guy. I thought you were going to block him. I thought you had him. And nobody blocks him and your quarterback's dead. I hate that. If that happens, I think Denbrock's going to have something else to go to. Quick hitters, dump offs, use them rushing as an advantage for us. Vacate this in the space they vacated, drop the ball over. Denbrock's going to have an answer for that. It's just nothing catastrophic could happen before that.
Yep. All right, last thing I'll leave you with. So I went back and I was watching, I think, your Cincinnati video from 2021.
I'm gonna have a panic attack.
This is a good one.
Oh,
someone in the chat put something along the lines of like Tosh Baker gives me PTSD or like something like that. That was 3 years ago, and we have the same issues. At this point, I put in Wagner and just see what he does. I don't know what else to tell him at this point. I mean, we have the same questions about a guy 3 years later. I mean, granted, he was behind Fisher, but still, like, he couldn't put any time to, like, maybe play guard. He wasn't good enough to slide inside or force Fisher to slide inside.
Yeah, and
I don't know about him. That dude.
I think I think Goolsby is of the mind. You put your highest upside, most athletic lineman out there, kind of whether they're ready or not. And it's like they have the highest upside. Let's get it all going rather than just experience. But just having experience doesn't mean you're good, right? Like you could be experienced and not be that good, but you're just around a bunch of years. That doesn't do me much good unless you're improving by a margin each year, right?
I mean, if you're not seeing the field, but as a fifth year or as like before you're a fifth year senior, you're not the guy. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so, hey, man, I got to tell you, I really appreciate that. That was creative. And the stuff Mark does too, man, he goes out of his way to cut up my stuff and make funny shorts or funny videos and cartoons and doing all sorts of AI stuff that I just don't have the skill set to do. And I really appreciate it. It adds to the aura of whatever my vibe is. It adds to it. And I really appreciate you guys, man. We have a good time here.
I had to make the first call a memorable call. So
see
when I call in next.
Hey, wait a second.
When I come, I'm ready for it.
Wait, where are you at in the 815? What part?
I used to live in Frankfurt. I grew up there. Then I moved
to Jameson's.
St. John,
I was
Indiana.
I was at Jameson's with Goolsby not long ago.
Yeah, so then I moved to Indiana, and then now I live in Texas.
Oh,
so
okay.
I still have my 815.
Still got the 815. Well, you're going to have to give me a Texas weather update. Let me know if it's going to be 246 degrees at kickoff time.
I'll let you know. It was hot as shit today. And it's only May.
I bet, man. Hey, thanks a lot for your first call. Save me as your emergency contact. Call me again, would you? Thank you.
You got it. Take care.
Thank you. Oh, man. I love these Saturday night shows. All right. Andrew's coming up. Then we got our other 815 and a 419. What's going on, Andrew?
Hey, what's up, John? How's it going, brother?
It's going good, man. I'm telling you, I like the vibe on these Saturday night shows, especially without a game, because we could just kind of relax and have fun with it, but also talk about all this stuff. It's a really comfortable feel. I enjoy it a lot.
You know, I just wanted to say that, I think it's like the power of the show, because over the last few weeks, you've had a lot of like really good first-time callers. That was a solid call by Jay Carr. I really enjoyed it.
Dude, I'm noticing that too. A bunch of new people, and I could see the call history, so I know like it'll say how many calls people have. And it really means the world to me, you know, for people to feel comfortable and want to take the time to do it. And I always do try and prioritize some of the new people to get them in the mix. But that's a good sign. Like it would be a little concerning if you had like the same three callers and nobody else every day. That wouldn't be good. That would, you know.
Yeah.
And especially in May.
So funny.
That's the other thing, Andrew. In May, we're not talking like the day before the A&M game where everybody about May here.
Totally, dude. I thought it was so funny, and then I thought his point on Tosh Baker was pretty solid. Like, I don't know if I agree with that, but it makes a lot of sense. So I totally agree. Yeah.
Interesting. So you had a couple things on your mind. One of them was how the Dabo thing can relate to us. What do you make of that whole situation? What side of this do you fall down on?
Yeah, you know what? I want to make Saturdays, like if I call in on Saturdays, like positive calls. And so I actually think like, and everybody should, like to Tony's point, everybody should join Patreon because you have a great video on Dabo. And I just think like you have a good pulse of what's going on with Notre Dame football. And it's my belief that like, if there's one great comparison that you can make for Marcus Freeman, like what we hope Marcus Freeman to be is like to be the next Dabo Swinney. But my personal feeling is if he's going to be the next Dabo Swinney, which I hope he is, let's make sure that he's the young Dabo Swinney and not like the recent Dabo Swinney. And so like, that's what I want to call in and talk about because I think there's some good signs of what Freeman is doing and that like Dabo Swinney 2024 should take some cues from Marcus Freeman. And what I mean is this is I think that his red line stance on transfers, and like he'll throw in NIL and stuff like that. And we can talk about NIL, but that's such a mystery. But in my opinion, his red line stance on taking transfers has cost him 2 straight playoff appearances. And we do not, as Notre Dame fans, we do not want that to happen to Notre Dame. And I just want to just like run back a couple things. So like 2021, Clemson had to, Trevor Lawrence was the first pick in the NFL draft, and they went with DJU. And I don't know if you were, John, I don't know if you're like a huge college football watcher, but 2021 did not go so well with Clemson and DJU. He was very average guy. And instead of being adept and saying, hey, you know what, maybe we're going to adjust at quarterback, he doubled down on DJU again in 2022. And then we saw what happened with, throwing interceptions against Notre Dame. And then like DJU was like the reason why Clemson didn't make the playoff. And then in 2023, again, doesn't go to the portal. And then we saw what happened with them. And my whole argument would be to a guy like Dabo, why it's, even though he's a great coach, you have to give him his flowers that he won 2 championships during the Nick Saban era. He has become so self-indulgent on what he thinks that he's built. Like he thinks that his culture is the reason why they won. It's totally wrong. He was an underdog hiring for Clemson. He went out and recruited his ass off on the offensive side of the ball and recruited 2 generational quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. And then on the defensive side of the ball, he made the best hiring that I think that you could argue in modern college football history. He hired Brent Venables as the defense coordinator and let him be essentially the head coach of the defensive side of the ball. And he put together 2 championships. And because of that success, he's become so self-indulgent and thought that it's all because of the culture he created. And I would argue that even if that he probably would have made the playoff the last 2 years if he just made literally one transfer each of the last 2 seasons.
Okay, so let me ask you that, because I think you're kind of getting to this. Here's my question. What do you think is behind his insistence on this philosophy of not really liking NIL and definitely hating the portal? What do you think is driving that in him? Do you believe he's freaked out that if you have these guys that started somewhere else, they're going to mess up his culture? Or like, what do you think is the driving philosophy behind him being so against more ways to fill out your team with good guys? What is the reason?
I have a good answer for that. Are you a music fan? Like, do you like, are you like a rock music fan or whatever? I obviously like, you like rap and stuff, but like, do you like classic rock and stuff like that?
I do. I like, those are my sweet spots, Andrew. Late 70s classic rock and West Coast late 90s hip hop. Those are my random sweet spots, baby.
Well, I always think about like a good band, like when they're coming up, like a great band, like a classic band, when they're coming up, like their first couple albums are legendary, right? Like they're like the best and they're the ones that you want to listen to. And then they get a bunch of success and they become rich and then they become comfortable and then they become totally like self-indulgent. And then they put out music that like nobody wants to listen to. And you go to the concert and you're like, I don't want to hear those songs. I want to hear your
hits. Play the hits, bro. Yeah.
And I think that happens like whether it's music or any other type of industry. I think that happens with super successful people. Like they're mostly successful when they're not at the peak of their career. They're struggling and then they're working their ass off to get to that level. And then when they become super successful, they think that like anything they touch, anything that they do is super successful.
That's a good point.
And I think that's what Dabo was running into. He forgot that when he got hired at Clemson, he was like an interim coach who convinced someone to give him the head coaching job. Then he worked his ass off and recruited like a madman and got 2 generational quarterbacks. He hired Brent Venables as the defensive coordinator. That was the recipe for winning. but I think he's reinvented what happened in his mind to think that it was his culture, which is so stupid because like there's so many coaches that build a so-called culture. It was because he did the work, he put in the work and got the players, and he let Brent Venables, and famously at the time, like 10 years ago, when Brent Venables was the D coordinator, Dabo Swinney took less money as the head coach to make sure that Brent Venables was the defensive coordinator. At one time, Brent Venables was paid almost like a head football coach as a defensive coordinator. Yeah. It was because he realized how awesome Brent Venables was as a DC. Like, you can think about Brent Venables as a head coach at Oklahoma if he's good or bad, but that dude got results as a defensive coordinator.
And he was loyal. He was loyal. That was the big thing. He stayed there, and you just knew
because he got paid.
Knew, and you paid. It was good. And okay, so let me play this out. There are consequences to this, right, Andrew? There are consequences. And what I mean by that is I've already seen national outlets ripping this, saying, if you're going to go on the radio and say those portal guys, none of them could help your team when you went 500 in your conference last year, you're putting a target on your back. And the first time you lose a game, everybody's going to call up and go, you sure could have used a portal guy on that, whatever went wrong. And then also with the players. Did the players like it because nobody's coming in and challenging them for their spot? Or did the players think, crap, man, I'd like to have some help over here because we're a little short on our depth? Like, I wonder what the locker room thinks about that philosophy.
Well, exactly. Nobody ever interviews the players. And what I would say is this. If I'm not suggesting that Dabo Swinney should be like Lane Kiffin or Lincoln Riley or Deion Sanders and just roll his whole roster over with portals. But I would argue that if he just made one portal addition the last 2 years, he probably would have made at least one playoff. And I think about DJU sucked in 2021 and he brought him back in 2022. Can you imagine if he went all out and instead of going with DJU in 2022, he got Bo Nix as his quarterback, who's sort of like a poor man's Trevor Lawrence? I think that Clemson's fortunes would have been a lot different in 2022. And then like fast forward to 2023, what was their biggest issue last year? It was wide receivers. Who did Florida State get that totally changed Florida State's fortunes and made them into a playoff caliber team? They went out in the late spring portal. They got Keon Coleman, and he put Florida State over the top. Like I would argue that Keon Coleman for Florida State amounted to 2 wins for Florida State. And so it's like totally stupid for Dabo and so self-indulgent to think that Bo Nix or Keon Coleman wouldn't have helped his team. That's ridiculous. And so why I say this is a positive call is I come in and I dog Marcus Freeman kind of a lot, but at the very least, Marcus Freeman does not buy into the Dabo nonsense, like this arrogance that it's his culture that wins. It's the players that win. And so I respect the fact that Marcus Freeman can build a good culture, keep guys, but he can still add dudes from the portal. And I think that Riley Leonard is a big deal. And so like, I would love for you and Mike Goolsby to go over Riley Leonard's highlight reel, because this dude is like, is he going to be like a deep ball passer like the way that Sam Hartman is? No. But if we get the ball inside the 30 and we have Notre Dame's running backs with Riley Leonard and he's 100% healthy, we're going to score 6 points every single time. This guy's really hard to defend. And so it's just so archaic. It's so self-indulgent of Dabo to look at like basically the portal is free agency, and to think that you can't pick up a free agent that could help your team. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And I think that at the very least, I applaud Marcus Freeman to not try to like double down on whatever BS culture he's trying to create. He's trying to win, so it's like, I at least respect that, man. And then the other thing I would say is like Marcus Freeman is recruiting well at quarterback, and it was 2 generational quarterbacks at Clemson that really changed Clemson's fortunes. They were mid. Clemson was a mid program, and it was Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence that really changed everything. I mean, we can talk about Clemson's defense. We can talk about guys like Sammy Watkins. We can talk about guys like Etienne, the running back. But it was Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson that really changed things. And so, like, you have to respect the fact that Marcus Freeman has really back room, and he's not afraid to make a free agent addition. And so, like, I think that's where Dabo is an idiot, and I think that he might be a victim of his own success. Which, like, when you think about a rock band, it's like a lot of times the rock bands are really good when they're coming up, and they think everything that touches they touch turns to gold, and then they end up sucking. It's like, you know what? Be like what you were when you were coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. And you know what I think a part of this is that I sense from Dabo? I can't prove it. This is just my sense. I feel him struggling, losing some of the control these big school head coaches always had over everything. I just see him struggling, knowing he doesn't have full control over everything and people could leave right away and go play and make money and do this. I just think he's a guy who's struggling with the players getting more autonomy. And that's just kind of an awkward place to be.
You know, I disagree with that. I do disagree with that. You know what I think it is? I think it's he worked his ass off, got to a level of winning championships, and he doesn't want to work as hard as he used to work. You know, he wants to set autopilot and say, hey, I created this great system.
Then you need to go on game day. Then you need to do the Saban thing then in your time. You got 2 championships. You're going to be in Clemson lore. Now, if that's where he's at, he needs to be next to Saban on a game day set then.
I agree.
Because then your time is up.
I agree. I think sometimes there's a certain type of person who, like, can go to rags to riches, and then they're cool with that, and then they forget where they came from. And I think that's why people like Nick Saban, that's why people like Urban Meyer are sort of like different creatures. They're like, even though they achieved so much success, they still want to work as hard. I know that Nick Saban complains. Like, everybody always wants to say, oh, Nick Saban got out of the game because of NIL. I think that's a bunch of BS. Nick Saban got out of the game because he's like 70-something years old. Nick Saban was a grinded out, defensive-oriented, run-the-football kind of guy, and then the NCAA changed the rules to kind of make it like more Oregon-style type football. And what did Nick Saban do? He went out and hired Lane Kiffin, Sarkisian. He did spread football. He adapted, and he won championships. Dabo doesn't want to do that for whatever reason. He doesn't want to work super hard like he did as a younger guy. He thinks it's just his system is going to just win. And I'm sorry to break it to you, man. You won't go this way. And I'll just end on this. I know you're a big wrestling fan, and I want to make it fun for Saturday show. Like, I always think about, like, because I think, right, are you a big
into the Attitude Era, and then when that ended, pretty much done with it. Like, I don't watch it now, but that whole Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars between Nitro and Raw, I was into all of that in like 7th, 8th grade, and then now I'm over it, but I loved it all. And I watched documentaries about the history of all of those characters and everything that went on. It is one of the most unique cultures there is. I love it's just amazing to me. I love it.
Well, I only bring it up because I know you always do the beams for WWF, but yeah, I was the same way. I think we're the same age. I grew up loving WWF in the 1980s. And then what did WWF try to do? They tried to kind of carry that 1980s thing into the 90s. And then they started getting their ass kicked by a rival wrestling company. And when did WWF become the main wrestling company? It was when Vince McMahon decided to switch gears and adapt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If he didn't adapt, he would have lost. And so that's a good allusion to what all successful college football coaches got to do. Even if you don't like it, even if you were super successful doing something 10 years ago, it does not matter anymore. You have to adapt. And I think to bring it back to college football, look at Jimbo Fisher. Dude was really successful. He was awesome at LSU as the offensive coordinator. I think he thought they were awesome at LSU because of his offense. It was because Nick Saban recruited the best dudes. Then he goes to Florida State. He carries on the tradition of recruiting best guys, but then he gets a generational quarterback in Jameis Winston. But did he walk away thinking that, oh, we won because of a generational quarterback? No, he thought it's because of his BS offense. Then he carried his BS offense to Texas A&M, and guess what? He's out of a job right now. So you've got to adapt. And so the one thing I'll give Marcus Freeman is that he's showing a willingness to adapt, use the portal to get free agents. And so I'm going to just go on and say I'd rather have an unproven Marcus Freeman in 2024 than an antiquated Dabo Swinney in 2024. If I'm getting Dabo Swinney from 2016, I'll take that all day. But that's not what we're getting. So
Yeah.
all I know that.
Andrew, listen, man, I know you have some anxieties and worries about some of the Freeman stuff. And I share a lot of the concerns. But man, I mean it when I say every checklist that I had for Freeman to have to start to address to get this where I felt more comfortable that we were really starting to build up, there's progress there. And it ultimately needs to pay off on the field or nobody's going to care and he won't be rewarded for it. But I'm telling you, man, all of these weird nuanced things that are a big deal to me that I think are important, he's addressing. And I'm hard pressed to find an area off the field that isn't night and day different and more modern. And I think that's a good sign. It needs to pay off on the field or it's not going to count for much or anything. But he's doing all the right things that I had in my mind that needed to get right and modern and on the right track. I see a lot of that, man. I do. I hope it pays off for him. I want to see him rewarded for it. But it's got to be results on the field.
I agree with you, John, that I do see some good stuff going on off the field. And you know how I can be super critical of Freeman. But this weekend, because I'm on vacation this weekend, and I had some time to look at Riley Leonard's highlight tape from Duke. And I think it was very reassuring in the fact that this dude is a mini Tebow. If we get 100% healthy Riley Leonard, like basically how I'm looking at it is that I couple what I saw with Riley Leonard against Notre Dame, a top 5 defense last year, where he put Duke on his back and nearly knocked us off. And if Elko wasn't a wuss and gone for it on 4th and 4, I think Duke puts us away. But he ended up punting it. He did that pooch punt with Leonard, and then obviously whatever happened. But like, dude, this guy Riley Leonard, like, I don't know if statistically he's going to burn up the stat sheet, but he's a real dude. And like, and if Notre Dame gets the ball inside the 30 on someone else's team, they're going to be very hard to stop because you have to defend his ability to run. And then you got to, or his ability to give the ball off to either Jeremiah Love or Jadarian Price, or like if you see his highlight reel, he just does pop passes to the tight end, which Notre Dame has the best tight ends ever. I think we'll be very deadly in the red zone, and I think that proves well against when you play an SEC team, because anytime you get the opportunity to score against an SEC team like Texas A&M, you can't settle for field goals. You got to punch it in for 6, and like he's a 6 machine. So I feel a lot better about it as long as Leonard is 100% healthy. So.
Oh boy, it's going to be interesting. And dude, whenever we're doing these Saturday night shows, I'm always thinking, what is the Saturday night show going to be like after A&M? It's in my mind, man. It's just, I don't know what kind of mood.
Positive, man. You're Freeman's boy. You got to feel like you're not positive. Like,
well, JB,
on Notre Dame right now.
Just
like, what's up, bro?
I'm always going to have anxiety, Andrew. This is Notre Dame, dude. I've been let down for 30 years in a row. Every time you get built up at all with any hope, you get chopped out from under you. There's a lot of scar tissue there for people our age. And the only way to bust it all out is to start winning big games. Win big games. It's the only way to get the respect we all want back. Win big games.
I placed $1 bet on Notre Dame. I got 1.5. I'm getting 1.5 points, so I placed it. So I think we're going to win that game. If we don't, then we got some real issues, dude.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we got all summer to worry about it. Andrew, thanks for being here. Thanks for being on Patreon. Thanks for calling. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, brother.
All right, bro.
See ya.
Thanks, man. Thanks for taking the time.
No problem. Dude, you guys in the chat are wild. You guys in the chat are wild, man. It just takes on its own life in this chat. It's the oh man. 815, make it come alive. What's going on?
How's it going, my man?
How are you, dude? What's up? Hey, I got some questions for you. You do a lot of recruiting stuff. Am I right in assuming there's some good news coming? That's what everybody tells me.
Yeah, we already got Dallas Golden, the elite corner, out of Florida. He committed, a week and a half ago, and Mark Zachary has set his commitment date for May 25th. The best player in the state of Indiana. Looks like he's going to stay close to home and pick the Irish. So our cornerback class, I think it's arguably the best we've had in the internet recruiting era. We're going to have there's a possibility we have 4 guys in the top 100 in this recruiting class that's going to be in our defensive backfield. So, Mike Mickens is absolutely kicking ass.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. And man, you got to find a way to keep that guy. They keep trying to find ways to keep him around and give him more titles and more money. You got to find a way to keep that guy around so that when Al Golden rides off into the sunset, then you have him, Freeman's road dog, very, very close. They move over, and then we don't skip a beat. That's kind of my plan. Do you agree?
Yeah, I know they gave him a slight pay raise, and they named him, cornerbacks and safeties coach. So I know that was partially to keep him around, because I don't know if you remember, but Michigan was digging around there trying to see if they could snatch him away. But that's what I almost wish, depending on how it goes this year with Al Golden. I just don't see him staying for the entire contract extension that he signed earlier this spring. You got to find a way to get him, Mike Mickens, as your DC. Otherwise, after this year, especially with how good we know Ben Morrison is, Christian Gray, Dayton Mickey, there's going to be teams that are going to be interested in him as a DC. Somewhere.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, so here's what I'm hoping. It's already crystal clear there's a secession plan and it's been talked about and all that, but people are going to keep offering and wanting to pull them away with more money or whatever. That's one situation. Here's the other one, man. I am already resigned to the fact that I think Dylan McCullough is going to get an ed job somewhere. It may be a group of 5 thing to start with or whatever. I think that I don't think he's going to be in Notre Dame forever. I think he's going to get something he can't turn down because he's been doing a good job too.
Yeah, I think this might be Dylan's last year. If you remember this past head coaching search for a lot of teams, Boston College came calling, and he was one of the finalists for that job. And look at how he's doing with this running back room. I mean, this is the best running back room I can remember as a Notre Dame fan. I don't know if you can name too many running back rooms.
Dude, seriously.
You can go 7 deep.
Yes. And you can go seriously. Deep. And the thing is, it's not just bodies. Notre Dame ends up historically with like a couple frontline everything and then a bunch of dudes. Every one of those guys can contribute in a little bit of a different way, and you feel really good about it. Every one of them has a good skill set.
Yeah, I mean, you had Audric, and then you had guys like Jeremiah Love, Price, and Jabron Payne behind him. In 2024, you bring in Keedron Young and Aeneas Williams, who I'm sure you saw Aeneas Williams in that spring game. And that kid, if he doesn't scream Kyron Williams 2.0, I don't know what else does. Keedron Young is literally if Audric Estime and Josh Adams had a baby. That's literally what Keedron Young is.
Oh, that's a good picture. I'm going to tell you, man, when he surprised me physically at the blue and gold game. I looked at him and I'm like, is that who I think it is? Because he physically does not look like a guy that should be in high school right now. That dude is built. He's built.
No. No, he's a grown man. He's a grown man in an 18-year-old's body. And man, I'm telling you, man, I mean, think about it. You have guys, just talking about Jabron Payne and Darian Price, right? Price is arguably, 1A, 1B at the very worst. Payne is that, second guy, third guy. Those two guys would be starting running backs at any other Power 5 team except maybe Georgia, Alabama, those high-quality teams. But when you have guys on your roster at a specific position, especially 7D, we saw Notre Dame, and it kind of ticked me off, but I understand it because you want to give those guys playing time. We saw Notre Dame the first 6 games of the season last year having a 5 running back rotation. How many teams in college football do you see doing that?
Yeah. And they all can contribute. They all have their roles. I loved hearing in the spring that they had Jeremiah Love out there with the slots and out there running routes, catching passes. It tells me, one, they love the depth in the running back room, that they can afford to flex like that and not lose a beat. So it tells me they love that. And then also, it's just, I love that they're going to find ways to get their great guys the ball and give them chances to make big plays. We have not done a good enough job of, okay, we're somewhat limited on offense. We have a few guys that could flash. You need to premiere and highlight those guys. And we have not done a good enough job of going out of our way to make sure our main guy gets as many chances as he can to do whatever. That's going to change. They're going to have Love all over, and I'm going to love it.
Yeah. You got to use that tagline during the season, I'm sure.
There you go.
But it also, it also screams to me because, we talked about Dylan a little bit ago. In this upcoming class in 2025, we've already got 2 kids committed at running back. And, Justin Thurman, I have a really good relationship with. I called him the Terminator. That was his nickname he told me he grew up with. He's an elite running back as well. You got Daniel Anderson from Arkansas who's coming in. I love his game too. And, you'd think, oh, that's enough, right? No, Dylan is not stopping there. He's pursuing the kid from LSU's own backyard, and James Simon, who, according to everything I've been told and I've seen, James Simon is, Notre Dame's guy is his second place team right now. Notre Dame beat LSU. Is beating LSU for him right now, but it looks like he'll end up at Texas. But even then, he's looking at other guys to offer. And I like that from our coaching staff, that it's not, okay, we've got 2 guys committed. We don't need to keep recruiting. That's why I love Marcus Freeman. Ever since he got the job, his tagline has always been challenge everything. He hasn't just said that. He doesn't just wear it on a t-shirt. Every coach has that, corny tagline that they use and tell their teams, and they print out t-shirts. It's more than a t-shirt with Freeman because he lives by it, he coaches by it, and he recruits by it because he challenges everything and he doesn't stay packed. He could have stayed packed in 2023 with Tyler Buckner at quarterback. No, challenge everything. Go get Sam Hartman. This year, we have Stephen Jelly. He looked good in the bowl game. You have CJ Carr coming in. Maybe he's good enough to start as a freshman.
Yeah. And you know what else?
Carr's our guy.
You mentioned Freeman, never settled, always looking for more, always looking to do more. And it makes me think of this. When Freeman got the job, and I was excited and was an advocate for that, there were all these positives, energy on the recruiting trail, work ethic, how he treats people, all the stuff people know that I already think about him and say about him all the time. But if you asked me what one of the worries would have been, I was on record saying one of the worries is, what if Freeman wants to do all this stuff, but because Notre Dame's always kind of slow with the trends and behind kind of whatever's going on, maybe he's not able to progress as fast as he wants to with getting Notre Dame and his vision or whatever because of all the Notre Dame-iness. That has not happened. They are working with him. The powers that be are listening to him. And when he goes in there and says, great example, when he goes in there and says, we're working this transfer portal thing, but time is of the essence. We can't take 3 weeks to look over transcripts to tell a kid if he could get in here or not. We need to speed this up to be competitive. And you know what they did? It went from about 2 weeks to 2 days. They had an answer of if a guy could get in or not. He's getting all this stuff trending in the right direction. It's just all, you cannot find one off the field thing that isn't trending straight up under Freeman's tenure. I cannot think of one item you could name behind the scenes off the field that's not trending up because of Freeman. I can't.
Yeah. I mean, and
you got to win games, though.
Looking back,
you got to win your games, though.
I know. Yeah, I know that it was, it was a different regime with Brian Kelly, and I know that when he originally got the job, it was still in mid-transition from getting the administration to be like, hey, it's not the 1990s anymore. It's not the 80s anymore. You can't just, rest on your laurels of what you did back then. We got to, evolve. But the stuff looking back now and all the shit that Brian Kelly said about, you can't recruit at Notre Dame. We shot down a different aisle. When he left for LSU, saying all the stuff about how he didn't have the resources needed.
He's saying the same thing now. He's saying it now.
He's saying the same thing, which is ironic.
I know.
I
know. And you know what it makes me think? You know what it makes me think, man? LSU does a lot of talking. I don't think they have the pool of deep pockets that they show like they have. I don't think they have unlimited NIL resources and a whole bunch of donors. I don't think they have that, or they'd be landing some more guys and now losing some top recruits. I'm serious.
Yeah, that DeCorian Moore kid seems like he got bought away from them.
Yeah, so. Texas oil money, I think. I think that old Texas oil well got him. The old oil slick.
And you know what's ironic about that, too, is that kid said just a couple of weeks ago, he's like, I'm not flipping. LSU has always been my dream school. You can't change my dream. And somebody on Twitter retweeted that and said, a few dollar signs can change any man's mind.
Yeah. There's probably something to that. So I don't know, man. I feel here's what I'm saying is here's where I feel like I'm at entering year 3 with Freeman. I understand that I'm very tied to Freeman because of my advocacy for him. Even when he was just the DC, I was saying, I'm done with Kelly. Let this guy be that guy because the recruiting people can't keep up with Freeman's paperwork. They've never seen anybody work that hard. I was saying, let Kelly go somewhere and let this guy work. Anyways, but here's where I'm at. I'm seeing a lot of this stuff take shape in the areas I needed it to, but it's about to be win time. And you're not going to get credit for any of this hard work behind the scenes if you don't put up those numbers where it matters the most. And it is about time that we get to winning mode, and it starts at A&M. How do you feel about that one?
So first things first, I don't agree with it being game day. I watched your video about that the other day, and I completely agree. All their talking points, I completely agreed with. That's what went through my mind is ESPN so anti-Notre Dame. They purposely put this game on the spot to put more pressure on Notre Dame. You're playing us. There's no reason. That is not the best game
now wait.
weekend.
Now wait, though. Now wait. Hold on now. Follow me here. LSU USC is a different day because of the holiday weekend, so you can't count that one. And then Georgia Clemson's at a neutral site, and I don't think they wanted to do it off campus. That's how I think Notre Dame ended up with that. And they're not. When else are you going to get a Notre Dame game? Because there's a lot of other big games on Florida State. That might be Alabama LSU on November 9th, because I was looking at a home game day for Florida State, but I think that's Alabama LSU night, if I'm remembering, and I know they're probably going to want that.
Yeah, I could see that, but I also thought that, I was thinking that, Georgia, Clemson, obviously, USC, LSU. I know they weren't going to do the Sunday game, but Miami, Florida, I thought was another one that, they're not. Neither one of those teams are, highly touted right now. Neither one of them will probably be ranked. Miami might because of all the preseason hype. But you get Miami, Florida in the swamp, 3:30 kickoff. I was thinking, that's two big brands, two fan bases that hate each other. Why not do game day for week 1 there? But I don't think that Notre Dame A&M is going to be. I think it'll be a close game. If this game was played in South Bend, I think Notre Dame wins by 17 plus because I think there's a big talent gap.
Baby, talk to me. Give it to me.
John, the only reason
Give
this
it to
game
me.
will be close. Yeah, go ahead.
I love it. Keep going. Give me more.
The only reason this game will be close is because it's at Kyle Field, and I'm going to give A&M fans their dues. Kyle Field is one of the hardest places in college football to play and win a game, and is one of the best home atmospheres in college football. Besides that, if you look at both teams on the field, the only advantage Texas A&M has in this game is their defensive line and their edges against our offensive line. And not really our offensive line, but our tackles right now, because we have two, Jagasaw is very young, inexperienced, struggling in the spring game. Their defensive line is always really good and elite. Outside of that, you've got a team in A&M that has lost 60 guys over the last, 2 years in the portal. They brought in damn near 30 guys to this roster. You've got a brand new head coach with a brand new philosophy, brand new coaching staff, installing an entire different culture, game plan.
Yeah.
And you got to play a top 10 team week 1.
That's the question that you just nailed it. You nailed it. I am a believer in Elko. I respect him as a man and as a coach. That's not in question. The question is, how quickly can he pull this all together? That's the real issue here. Week 1, game 1 of a new operation with 30 transfer portal guys out and 28 back in or whatever. How quickly, Connor Wegman back off injury, and you got to get all this going. How quickly can, as much as I respect Mike Elko, pull that all together to be totally ready week 1, game 1 of a new operation? I promise you this. The following year, when they come to South Bend, it's going to be at our place, and we're going to like that. But that team's going to be a lot more put together. To get it while the getting's good. If you're going to do this, the best time to jump on Elko's week 1, year 1. That is the loosest his operation's ever going to be because he's such a damn good coach. He's going to pull it all together. So you better get it while you can get it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I love Elko too. I think he's one of the top coaches in college football. Love what he's done wherever he's gone. But it's just, I don't care who you are. Nick Saban is the greatest coach of all time. And he lost to Louisiana Lafayette in his first year. Because it takes time. And think about how you see all those articles come out about how toxic A&M was and how bad that culture was under Jimbo. And that doesn't just get fixed overnight because you have a great head coach coming.
Yeah.
That takes time to build a culture. We saw it with Freeman. Freeman, we lost to Marshall. Kids stopped believing in Freeman for a little bit. He lost the team a little bit there. Okay? That happens. And, Mike Elko's not the one playing on the field. I think that, and also, I'm sure you would agree, John, to your point, I'd feel better playing them week 1 than I would if we were in the same situation we were with Ohio State last year.
Yeah.
And we played them week 4.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Hey, thanks for the call. Anything on the way out? And let the people know where they can find your content. I appreciate you calling in. Every Saturday I do this. You call in and give me a good one. Promo your stuff. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Fravel_Ryan on Twitter. That's FRAVEL_Ryan on Twitter. I post everything Notre Dame football, recruiting. We also talk a lot of ball. We got our own Notre Dame group chat over there. So I'll have to invite you, John. I didn't want your phone blowing up because we get crazy in there. But it's we got a lot of stuff coming on. We got 3 commitments, from big Notre Dame targets over the next month. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah. Anyways, John, thanks for letting me on, man. And you have a good night. As always, go Irish. And hopefully we go, we kick Texas A&M's ass week 1.
There you go, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for always calling, man. Have a good weekend. Take care now.
Take care.
What a nice guy. Man, I got some nice callers. Most of my callers are freaking nice. It's a good little community we have here for the most part. I'm saying that while Commander's like, John, our coach is horrible and you're an idiot. And I'm over here being like, I love our group. We have a nice group over here. And the Commander's over here, John, you're the dumbest person that's ever talked about Notre Dame football. Everybody sucks. Oh, 419, you're on the line. What's going on? Whoa. Is that what I sound like? That's awful. Hello?
Oh, my bad, Jay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it freaked me out because I was hearing myself. I was hearing my own echo. I was getting freaked out. What's going on, man?
Man, my bad, bro.
Oh, it's all
the show, man.
Oh, it's all good. I appreciate you, man. And you've been on hold a while. I can't blame you. That's my fault. What's on your mind tonight, man? We've kind of shooting all over the board here on a late May Saturday or a mid-May Saturday.
Nah, man. I told you last time, man. You my guy, man. So it's all good. I'll wait, and it's just all over the place again. This your boy Eric Spidell from Toledo, Ohio.
Oh man, why are you in Ohio, man? It's just concerning to me. Like, it's just, I don't wish that on anyone. Why are you in Ohio? And there's Ohio State people all over. Woof.
Hey man.
Woof.
You gotta live among the wolves, man. Sometimes.
I guess. I mean, geez, it's just rough over there. And what do you think, man? You've been hearing all this. What's on your Notre Dame mind? I mean, we can go wherever you want to go. You want to talk about A&M or overall with Freeman? What's on your mind?
Okay, I got a couple of things I want to touch on.
Beautiful. Let it rip.
I did come to the spring game, and I wanted to get with you, but late moving. So I got up there, and then I didn't realize how cold it was. I got the hell out of there after the third quarter, bro. But I did appreciate.
I was going to say, you knew I was going to be mad. Like, bro, I was there at like 8:30 in the morning all day. Where were you?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, man. Bro, I wanted to be there. I wanted to meet my favorite linebacker at Notre Dame before Manti Te'o. I wanted to meet my favorite number 41. And, Gooseby, and it was like, it wasn't happening, bro. So,
dude, have you seen the little, there's a video out of an interview Manti gave, and I forget which show it was on. And he was talking about how much he loved Notre Dame and the energy of the fan base, and that they gave him strength when he ran out of the tunnel. They were all behind him, and he felt like the alpha, and he was supported by everybody. And the Notre Dame energy made him want to win everything. Like, that dude loves Notre Dame so much. It's a great thing.
Yeah, it is, because I didn't think he was gonna embrace that when he came in. So he embraced it, and he was the face. He really was the face. So, hey, shout out to Manti. Bro, when I was there, it was cold as hell, bro.
Yeah.
I had to get the hell up out of
there. Dude, you think it was cold then? You should have seen the year before. It was like an apocalypse. We had rain, we had sleet, we had snow. I mean, there was damn near baseball-sized hail hitting you in the head while you're trying to drink a beer. We had everything, dude. It was wild.
No, I would have needed something stronger, like some vodka or something. But I watched it on TV, but I was like, no. But I made a promise to come this year, but I wanted to see you, and I wanted to see some other people. But you know what? Forget all this, John. I got some other stuff to say.
All right.
First off, block this Commander dude and his little minions that's coming for you.
Telling you, man, it's nonstop. It's every day. I just always want to see what's coming next. It's outrageous.
Look, you're running my blood pressure up, and this ain't even my show. Stop.
I don't
Okay.
want you to get an ailment by proxy. Come on, let my
'cause-
blood
'cause I'm
pressure
like,
go
hey,
up.
if you got something to say, call me on the phone, because this stuff that you're doing on these chats, it's
Ooh.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I like this beef. Listen, man, don't let him get to
Okay.
you. Don't let him
So-
get to you, man. You gotta like you. He's
No,
doing a bit.
look.
He's doing a bit, and what he wants
Look.
is all of us to react to him, so he gets his little party and he gets the attention. I don't want to give it to him all the time.
Look, John, I've been a Law and Order fan just like you, and I swear to God, you're the type of dude I meet outside of the bar, and yeah, ain't no talking. We're gonna fight, because I'm like, I don't even know who you're so. What's your complex? You say you're a fan or you not?
You know what I think it is, dude? I know what it
you
is.
just piss on you
Bro.
piss on everything. You piss on everything that they're trying to do, everything that they're trying to accomplish. Like, what is your goal?
I know what it is. Let me tell you, man. I know what it is. I'm using my graduate degree in psychology here. I know what it is. I think he's a guy who loves Notre Dame. He really loves Notre Dame, and he's been hurt and let down by Notre Dame football his whole life. And he's bitter about it, and he's glass half empty, and he and he won't allow himself to be positive and let himself get hurt again. I'm serious. I really do. I really think that's it, man. This guy, I think that's why he's here every day. He loves Notre Dame.
Stop trying to cover up for this guy.
I'm serious. That's what I think it is.
No, we all need therapy. They're dealing with Notre Dame. We all need therapy. So I'm not about to go there with this guy, and I'm not about to do it.
That's true.
So anyway, I'm gonna let.
We should open Notre Dame football therapy. I'm like, dude, we'd be raking in the money, man.
In that new facility, we all need to lay down on the couch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I'll have a special room with the white padding and a straight jacket. I'll be looking like Hannibal Lecter. They'll be wheeling me out of there. I'm all strapped in.
Yeah. Like, look, I'm looking in the chat. Call it Paint His Nail. Call me. I'll send you my number. But anyway, I'm gonna get off this guy. Set off. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really worried about this quarterback room.
Okay.
Because it's log jam. It's log jam, bro. And I'm like, I thought somebody was gonna transfer out, and nobody transfer out.
Man, I have asked the powers that be. Kenny Minchie loves it. Kenny out squeeze between the younger guys, and then you have like Riley Leonard, and then Angeli's more established, and then you have Carr and all the excitement with Deuce behind him, and then whatever we're gonna do, if it's Grubbs in 26, whatever. Kenny Minchie should be the odd man out. He loves Notre Dame and doesn't want to leave. It's kind of great.
Yeah, I'm really worried about the quarterback room, and I hope Denbrock and Freeman has a plan, because you got four capable quarterbacks to get you through this first game. And it's like, how you going to do that? Like, I want to know if Riley, Leonard is healthy all the way, and if he's not healthy, who's coming in? Because CJ Carr has been looking good. I can't lie. Even Minchie looked good when I went to the game. He's not, he's not the fastest person, but he's very savvy with his movement, and he has the big arm for us to get the ball down the field. So I'm like, hey man, y'all have a problem in this room.
Well, but it's a good problem. But it's a good problem. Like, I would much rather have this problem than the other problem, which is I'm watching the blue and gold game and I don't even like our starter, let alone what's behind him. Do you know how many blue and gold games I've driven to on the toll road thinking I'm not excited to see any of this, because even our number one guy I know isn't good enough to get us where we need to go, and everybody behind him is worse than that. So I'd much prefer this problem in a crowded room with a bunch of upside than the other way. Look at it that way.
No, I feel you on that, but it's just confusing right now. and I'm just-
Dude, you're all right
No,
about
'cause
that.
It just
You are right about that
Yeah,
because
'cause
you
it
got
just-
people, segments
'cause
of the
it just
fan
hit-
base that like everybody. There's an Angelic camp, there's a Leonard camp, there's a Carr camp, there's a Deuce camp. You got people all over the board. There's a Minchie kid, Goolsby's a Minchie guy. There are strands of Notre Dame fans that want to dive into each of these guys. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a problem that we never had, and I'm just like, I listen to you all the time. I'm like, man, this is too much. And Kent's sitting up here in the comments, and I'm like, look, if this Will Howard character don't play out for y'all, you might as well get ready for another Michigan loss. Matter of fact, you might lose somebody else before you get to Michigan. So you need to chill out because we don't even know who Will Howard is. Like, you need to chill, bro.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I'm done with the Ohio State fans.
I'm glad you got
done
it
with
off
all
your
that.
chest. I'm really glad you got it off your chest.
Yeah, but look, I love my team. But anyway, I'm tired of ESPN BS too.
It's a propaganda
You
factory,
have us
bro.
on-
It's a propaganda
Yeah,
factory. That's all it is.
Man, I am so tired of ESPN. You let your number one man of the company go off on Notre Dame. Wait. Notre Dame ain't relevant. But guess who's the first game where College Game Day is coming to?
Yeah.
And it ain't because of Texas A&M. I tell you that.
See, isn't that kind of
But
funny
you let
too,
Stephen
though?
A. Smith-
They're going to
you-
shit
you-
on
you
Notre
let-
Dame all
you
the
let
time
Stephen A.
and then
Smith go
use
off.
us. They're going to shit on Notre Dame all summer and then use us for their ratings week one. It's amazing how it all works out, isn't it?
Yeah, they try to act like they like us, but they don't like us. Like, stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's ridiculous.
I don't watch it.
Everything is ridiculous.
Don't watch it. I don't watch that crap. I don't watch that programming. I don't. Nobody should
I
watch
know.
Game Day. I'm telling you, man, people keep watching Game Day. ESPN sucks. And then you watch Game Day. Well, you're helping the people that don't like us. I don't understand.
Yeah, I grew up on it, but the older I got, it was
Me
just like,
too.
Man, this is
We
BS.
all grew up on it, but it's changed. It's
Yeah.
all pre-programmed propaganda angles fed to them now. Everything is. It's not authentic anymore. You can see right through the narratives. It's not real life.
Yeah. They
But what do I
let
know?
it be known in your face.
What do I know, bro? I just yell about football in my basement. Like, what do I know? But I just see through I see through their narratives.
No, you know everything, man, and I'm with you, man. I'm supporting you, bro. I'm with you, man.
No, you're not. You're with me, man. And then you said you were too cold to come have a beer in the parking lot with me. What do you mean you're with me? You ain't
I
with
got there
me.
late, bro.
You got there late.
I
I could have
hotel
warmed you
Mishawaka.
up. We had all sorts of liquor. You could have got warm.
Hotel Mishawaka, man. And I got there in like the second quarter, and I was out there in the third quarter. I'm cold. I was cold as hell, bro.
Wait a second. If you had a hotel and you didn't even have to make a drive, how were you that late to the game? Did you sleep in? What are you doing?
You should have brought me something. You should have brought me something strong to drink, man. I would have been okay.
Oh, that's funny to me, man. That's funny.
But no, I just wanted to call in and say, go Irish, but I'm really worried about this quarterback room. I'm really not worried about Texas A&M. And to be honest, I'm really worried about Lauren Landau, the new strength and conditioning coach, because this is giving me vibes of the game we played in Terran Kaiser when Brian Kelly was playing pity pat with both of the quarterbacks with him and Malik Zaire, and everybody was going down with cramps. Now it's like you can't do that right now.
Yep. It's gonna be
because you always talk about the heat, and I'm like, I'm worried about the heat too.
Man, they gotta.
Because
It's a real deal.
Type of heat.
Yeah, it's a real deal. So they got to be ready, man. You overcome the elements, overcome the crowd, whatever. You got to get it done. Hey, man, thank you for the call, and we'll meet up sometime, man. We'll meet up sometime when we're both in town. Thank you.
No, I got it, man. Go Irish, man. Go Irish Nation, man.
There
Love
you go.
y'all, and have a good night, everybody.
Appreciate that. Man, see, he's a nice guy too. He just doesn't like the commander. Just doesn't like the commander. All right. 385. This is all right. We're just about at 10 o'clock. 385 is going to be the last caller of the night. There's a bunch more. I got some stuff I got to do for the paper tonight. So this is going to be it. Full 2 hours. Sorry to the people that are waiting, but there'll be more time for sure. Yeah, really good callers, by the way, tonight. Very diversified, a lot of different opinions, a lot of different topics. I got to say, I really like this. 385, my main man, what's going on?
Hey, Saturday Night Fever with the blue collar greasers, with the remedy, John Kennedy drinking his Hennessy after dark with the Maker's Mark, the Always Irish Show. What's up, John?
Ooh, I like that. We got to put that on a record. I like it. God, you guys are creative, man. We got an AI Brian Kelly calling from his jet ski. I got you busting out rhymes. What's the deal? I love you guys.
Hey, man. I love the Saturday Night Show, man. All the shit talking that goes on, just some things over the top, though, man. I don't mean to ever lose my cool. Just some things get over the top. But
dude, I kind of like it though, bro. I kind of like it when you get mad because you're usually so chill and like cool and like kind of laid back with what you and upbeat. When you flip it and get mad, I kind of enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie. It's entertaining for me. I like it.
Hey, I know, but better here than at the tailgate, huh?
Yeah,
I have to call my brother. Hey, I'm in jail.
Yeah, the South Bend Slammer, baby. That's not the place you want to be.
Nah. But no, to touch on some topics, man. Like the Dabo thing, I don't want to rewind, man. The Dabo thing, to me, I tell you, I got a lot of respect for that dude, man. I think everybody, Andrew's call was on point as far as the things he had to comment on both Freeman and Dabo, but I think Dabo's run is not done, man. I really think people are writing that dude off too soon. Like I've said, the only coach to give the SEC run in the last decade. You know what I mean? Like that's the truth.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. He's got to adapt a little bit, man. Like just a little bit. I'm not telling Dabo to go get 30 guys in the portal, but you're telling me you can't find one or two guys to add to your depth? Give me a break.
Yeah, that might just be some pride on his part because it's like, I think for a long time a lot of these Utah kids used to leave, and like, what they say that Kyle's attitude was, these are Utah kids, they just want to come here naturally. That might be Dabo's thorn at his side as well. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm Dabo, this is Clemson, they should just want to come here. You know what I mean? And that I would say would hurt him. But then, the comparisons that Gilmore made, like I said, I've disagreed with him before, but the comparisons that Gilmore made today, as far as Freeman and Dabo, man, they were on point. I was actually really impressed with what he had to say.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing, man. I can't quite figure out Dabo's angle, and I'm just not sure where he's coming from. I'll tell you this. I'm just glad we're not operating that way. I like the way Notre Dame's using the portal. And you know what else I like about how Notre Dame uses the portal too? Yeah. All the guys are good guys. We have not really had an issue of bringing in a guy from another culture and it messes up ours or he gets in trouble and he can't fit in. All these recent guys are all really well liked. They adapt in the locker room quickly, and they're good in the community, and they do charity stuff. All these guys have been great additions to Notre Dame.
No, and that's true, right? That's what we want. We want better athletes. We want better men, not just better athletes. And you hit the nail on the head. I think, honestly, I think on Friday was a really good chance. Hartman was an ND, and it's like, well, he was waiting. I was like, yeah, I guess. That dude had really accomplished everything he needed from college football, right? He came to ND to hopefully boost up the standard. But no, you're right. The one dude, like I said, that I was so impressed with, got nothing but love and nothing but respect for, man, is JJB. I mean, that dude is so underrated, man. I think the Commanders got a straight deal with that dude.
Yep.
I was happy to see them, man. He's going the 7th round. I mean, no better player, man, out there than that dude right there.
That was a key, ended up being a key pickup. And at the time, Kent And all of the Ohio State people were telling me he's garbage. He's not good enough. We don't want him. You can have him. I'm telling you what, he played really, really good football for Notre Dame last year. He had a great year. Run defense improved significantly. He did good. He did good.
Yeah, he did really good. And, I'm hoping that kid that they picked up from Duke, does a good
Oben.
job. And what's his name?
Oben.
Yeah,
I think
Oben.
he's going
And,
to. And I've heard good things about the spring. People were kind of impressed. I think they think a little more of him now than even when they got him. But I'm hearing good reports on that too. So Notre Dame's navigating it pretty well. I mean, we're never going to be a team getting 20 guys in the portal and having all. We're not going to do that. But the pieces we're adding seem to be pretty good.
No, yeah, exactly. But we don't need to either. And then, Devin Ford, man, my hat off to that kid, right? Went from 4th on the depth chart running back. Hey, man, they moved him over to defense. He willingly did it, you know what I mean, without, any pushback. I hope he stays on, you know what I mean? Because isn't there like one more portal opening before summer or something?
I believe there's a window, yeah.
Yeah, there's one last window. And so, the guys we've picked up are great, man. And so I think we'll be in good shape. And the one thing is, like, you make great points, man, and you ran about ESPN kind of falsified this. I mean, they could have had Georgia Clemson, that dabble, the only team to give them the SEC run. Like I've said, you could have had Florida Miami, tons of them. And they're just ESPN, and their dog shit ass reporting. They just got that pointed on our back.
How do you really feel?
Texas A&M. Hey, bro, I tell you, I hate the SEC because for the last 20 years they created the trend of playing junior high teams for the other conferences, and they only have 3 elite teams for the last 20 years. Truth be told, that's why when they say, as far as Denbrock, and nothing away from Denbrock, man, I'm glad he's back. He had Malik, he had Deshaun, he had all those good quarterbacks, man. But I really think that Michael Penix out of Washington should have got that Heisman, man. I really do. I think that's a stud, man. I think he's underrated. But that's yet to be seen. But I really just hate that dog shit. Want to be tough guy SEC. Let's pick 3 junior high teams and 1 elite a year.
Dude, I like the way, I just like the way that everything bothers you, the way it makes me feel a little better about everything that bothers me, knowing there's other people too. As we stress out the next 3 months, dude, I keep coming back to this. I just keep sitting here on a Saturday night wondering what this is going to be like in 3 months or whenever it is after that A&M game. We better be in a good mood on this show, damn it. We better be. Just, come on, man. I don't even want to think of the nightmare this show's going to be if we lose week 1. Can you imagine it, dude? It's going to be terrible here. It's going to be so bad here. Oh.
Dude, I could already picture Kent trolling and Luke Douche freaking going off on us and this and that and free pass and every negative statement, and everybody just getting heated. And
free pass, Marcus 10 man.
My family members know not to talk to me with Notre Dame. Last year, my brother, or 2 years ago, I think when we lost to SC, my brother goes, "Hey, let's leave. Let's get out of the house and go out because he's gonna be." But yeah, man, I'm pissed.
Yeah,
I'm pissed, but yeah,
dude, it's.
But I think we'll be okay.
I hope so, man. Nick Dean says, do you think Freeman might be following Georgia's plan to build a team? I'm going to say no, because Notre Dame will never have the ability to recruit quite the way Georgia does, based on the talent, the grades, everything else they have going on. In theory, maybe, but in practicality, Georgia it's a totally different world. The part of the country they're in, all the local talent. It's interesting. You could argue Freeman might be smart to build this program kind of after the way Michigan did it. And I know we all hate that, but you build a good culture and you grow it over a bunch of years, and then you have upperclassmen that all win together and play Northern football and they end up winning. I hate saying it, but that might be the path. Jeez, and I hate saying it. Hate it.
No, and you know what? I'll touch on this because I know it's getting late for you. But I think Freeman is even though people disagree and he hasn't won this and that, but I think he's got the attitude the kids like him, the parents like him. I think the boosters love him. You know what I'm saying? You can tell.
Yep.
So I think
100%.
He'll have enough wins under his belt. He'll do good enough to where they be patient enough to where it's like, hey man, Johnny, your hair's about to grow back because we just won the national title.
Oh
You know
my
what I'm
God,
saying?
dude! I'll have a mullet. Oh, I will wake up the next day with a mullet. Like overnight, it's just gonna come. I'm gonna look. They're gonna call me John Dirt instead of Joe Dirt. Like I'm just gonna wake up and all my hair's gonna come back. I got a long mullet. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and then we'll have Kent saying, hey, you guys finally get there. Way to be Ohio State. Way to finally get to Ohio State's level. And we'll laugh about that. And Luke Douche will be like, it only took us 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, but hey, Johnny, you'll have your hair grow back. I'll get to see the football team in national title like the Bills did, like the lacrosse did. And hey, man, we'll all party down at Johnny's house or at Pat Carter's boathouse.
Bro, I'm telling you, I am totally serious. If we win a championship when I'm doing this show, me and Pat, we are throwing a huge party somewhere and everyone is invited and it's going to be wild and everyone's invited. I don't even care if I know you, you're invited. Like I book that and I mean it. We will throw a rager and everyone's invited.
Right on. Johnny, one question. With the holiday weekend coming up, are you having a Friday show or are you going to bypass the Friday show?
I'll do the Friday show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a Saturday night show because we have some family stuff going on. But we'll do Friday morning, but I don't know about Saturday night.
Right on, buddy. Hey, man, great shows the last few times, man. Great time, always great topics, man. And thanks for always letting me be a voice for the blue-collar guys, man, when the rest of the wine and cheesers, are being, whatever.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I do. I really appreciate it. This community only works if it's all you guys. Like I drive the car, but you guys paid for it. Like you own it. It's your show. So I'm happy to be the conduit here, man. Hey, behave yourself the rest of the weekend, my man. Have some fun, okay?
Will do, brother. Onward, Notre Dame.
Thank you. Take care, man. Thanks for the donation as well. Really appreciate it. Look at this. It's always good to have a lady around. Sean, welcome to the program. It's always good to have a lady around. You missed it an hour ago. I was going over Frank and all the different reasons I love him. It's amazing. Oh, Nick, there'll be chicken fingers out the wazoo. I'm telling you what. But no, honestly, that is my dream, you guys. If we do ever win it, everyone's invited. Pat and I are going to rent something out, figure out a situation at a location that works for a lot of our group. And we're gonna indulge, and we're gonna have some fun. But the way my life goes, that'll happen when I'm like 98 years old and just about to croak, and then like I'm not even able to enjoy the party, and then I drop dead. That's probably what'll happen. Oh man. $10 holler from Andrew. Great show. Bring Mike G on live. His parents are in town visiting him in Nebraska. So timing's a little rough on that. They made it into town, and so he's doing stuff with them. Andrew, you're kind of growing on me. Look at that, Andrew. You're starting to change some people's minds. I think, dude, it's just Andrew's intense with a lot of this stuff, and so am I, and I get it. I understand it. But the last couple times have been a lot more pleasant. It's been great. It's all about the tone, Andrew. It's all about the tone. They're very pleasant recently. Oh, man. All right, you guys. I got to say, really, really good show. Really solid. Good callers. We moved it around. We jumped all over. A little drama in the chat. Nothing too bad. A lot of good donations. I love this community. Again, I'm driving a car, but you guys own it. Like none of this exists without you guys driving where you want to go and what we're going to talk about and whatever else. It's your guys' show. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. All the creativity, man. The AI, Brian Kelly, my main man Martinez dropped a little rap on us. I love it. So everybody, enjoy the rest of your night. Have a relaxing Sunday. Watch PGA Championship. See if anybody gets arrested going to their tee time. Whatever you're going to do tomorrow, enjoy it. And Adam, we need to get on that boat and record some content. Maybe we do a Boats and O's remix and we make the words about Notre Dame and I'm on your boat. We're rapping. Come on, Adam, we need to hook this up. I got ideas. I'm not trying to be rude and invite myself on your boat. I'm just saying if we did it, there's content opportunities, baby. All right. I'm getting off here. I'm starting to lose my mind. Have a good night, everybody. I love this show. I love this group. Thank you, everyone. Love it.